welcome back for another video. My name is Josh Kasich, and today is my original Bakugan series review. Now this series is way better than the reboot version going on for I think about a year or two now. That show's okay, but just not as good as the original. I think my only complaint with the first one, or the original series, is that it belongs to like this anime category of animation where they decide to have the eyes and eyebrows show through the hair, which really annoys me to no end. But other than that, the show is really good. Another thing interesting about this, it's hard to they classify as an anime, but it's not like a show that was created in Japan and then get dubbed here. It's actually a show that was made by both a American company and a Japanese company working together. So technically it's only really half anime. I mean, it has anime style to it, but it's kind of both. So I don't know what it should be called, but they do classify it as an anime. Other than that, that's pretty much the main point. So we got the first season. It starts off, there's this world called New Vestroia, or not New, called Vestroia, and it's split into like 6 worlds with 2 cores in the middle, and a silent core and an infinity core. And somehow the person on Earth, a scientist, he opened up a portal to this realm, and he got into the Bakugan world and talked to this guy named Naga. And Naga wanted power because he's part of these species that are going extinct. That they don't have any power in these 6 worlds, so he craved power, and so he thought he can take on the cores to gain power, and so he goes to the silent core and he gets absorbed by it because he's not strong enough. But eventually, as he's in it, he absorbs the power of the silent core until it's absorbed into him. But this conflict caused a fusion of the Earth and the Vestroia, and it was also causing problems with Vestroia, which we find out later in the show, where like the 6 worlds were like combining in like two into like 3 different worlds and stuff, and mixed everything. It's very weird, but that's not the main point. The thing is, on Earth, Bakugan started appearing in ball form, and was they dropped, including cards. And you have this character named Dan and his friends created the Battle Brawlers and made a game out of these Bakugan. And essentially how it works is that you activate a field, you have a field card, you activate, and then you throw your Bakugan, and the other person throws their Bakugan, and they go into battle. And then you want to raise the Bakugan's G power in order to beat the other Bakugan, so you have ability cards. And once you beat a opponent twice and got 2 field cards, oh, and also if you activate the field card actually will help your Bakugan gain power. And so, like I said, once you gain 2 field spells, you win the battle or whatever. So essentially what it is. But this is no game, obviously, and a Bakugan named Dragonoid, but who goes by Drago throughout the series, first met Naga, or talked to Naga before he went to go capture the Silent Core. And he lands on Earth, and Dan, the main character, he finds him, and they become partners, and Drago shows them that this is no game. And the rest of the Battle Brawlers, you have Shun and his Bakugan Skyrus. You have Runo, kind of Dan's love interest, but they always like fight. It's kind of very interesting. Although, since this is technically a kids show, they don't really develop the love interest that much, unfortunately. But I'll get more back to on that one. But her Bakugan is Tigrera. You have Julie and her Bakugan Gorum, Marucho and his Bakugan Pyrus, and Alice. She doesn't have a Bakugan because she doesn't really battle. She's just part of the group. Well, we'll get to that point a little bit later in the first. This all takes place in the first season. But there's a guy named Haoji and a guy named Masquerade working for Naga, and they're going around trying to gain power so that Masquerade's Bakugan Hydronoid evolves, and so it has enough power to absorb the Infinity Core. Now, the Infinity Core disappeared when Naga grabbed the Silent Core, so no one knows where that is in the beginning of the series right now, but they're all battling to get their Bakugan to evolve, and Masquerade is sending Bakugan to the Doom Dimension, which is like bad because that's supposedly the permanent resting place for Bakugan. They can't get out of it, which is weird because the show proves time and time again that that's not the case, but that's besides the point. But eventually, all the Battle Brawlers Bakugans evolve. The interesting thing about Marucho's Bakugan Pyrus, it doesn't necessarily evolve. When it evolves, it duplicates itself. So Pyrus stays the same, but he gets another Bakugan that's like double-sided of two personalities. One being Angelos, and the other one being Diablo. And that's kind of their share one Bakugan, but they're like on double-sided. So it's a very interesting concept. But they were able to. Dan was able to beat Masquerade several times, and it's finally revealed who Masquerade truly is. It is Alice. So her Bakugan is Hydronoid. They break her character. They break the Masquerade character, although she comes back and keeps putting the mask on because she doesn't have the strength to battle or whatever. And so that's kind of. That's kind of the thing. But the reason why she was Masquerade is because she was there. Her grandfather is the scientist who went to New Vestroia. She was there, and they were both affected by the dark like energy by Naga and the Silent Core and stuff. So her grandfather became Haoji, and she became Masquerade. So that's kind of the thing, but that's the first thing. Other interesting characters we got. Obviously we got Chan Li and Fortress. We got Julio and his Bakugan Tentaclear. We got Komba and his Bakugan Harpus. We have I forgot his first name, but his last name is Hertzon, and his Bakugan is Cyranoid. And then who is that? 5? Who am I missing? Oh, and Billy, who is Julie's love interest. His Bakugan is Cycloid. So you have those. Those are also some interesting characters. And then you also have these two singers named Jules and I forgot the other one, but Jules is technically Marucho's love interest. Well, not necessarily in the Bakugan series itself because they don't really develop that enough. It's more of this after story that was kind of fan made, I think it would, from what I've read. But they're so that's kind of that as well. But those are some more interesting characters. But obviously the first Joe. Now another character is Joe, who is technically Chan Li's love interest, and he's actually the person who created the website for the Battle Brawlers, and he joins with Waver, Drago's love interest, and she is the sister of Naga, and she has the Infinity Core. Unfortunately, she doesn't live she lives in spirit after the show, or after the first season, but she doesn't. Her physical form doesn't make it. And Drago gets the Infinity Core, and obviously they're going to defeat Naga and everything. So that's kind of the first season. You have the second season about New Vestroia. Now Drago taking both cores now. He became the core, and Vestroia's one world now. And then in one world they get attacked by... Sorry about that. Alright, the second season is about after now you have new Vestroia. All the Bakugan left in the first season after Drago became the two cores, and he became one core for the planet. So he doesn't have a physical form anymore either. And this and so now Vestroia is one world, everyone shares it like it originally was before it was split into six. And then it was invaded by these called the aliens, or from an alien planet called their Vestals. I forgot what the name of their planet is, but they created technology that turned Bakugan back into ball form, and they changed up the rules. So instead of having, usually you would have like 3 Bakugans to battle, you just use 1 Bakugan. And instead of, winning field cards, you have these things on their gauntlet type things on their arms, and you activate ability cards by putting it in there, and then you have a life gauge. Instead of winning 2 battles or whatever, you have to defeat the opponent's life points. Now, technically, usually it does take 2 battles to defeat a person fully, but sometimes it could take more. Or even less, depending on how the situation goes. But they kind of change up the rules. Well, these Vestals, so you have the Royal Vestals, and then you have a Vestals group that does all the dirty work for the Royals, called the Vexos, and they are, but they're lying. The Royals and the Vexos are lying to everyone that Bakugan are just animal, not sentient like creatures. Well, 3 Vexals knew that isn't true. Mira, and a guy named Ace. So those are actually love interests as well. And then a guy named Baron. Now their Bakugan, you've got Mira's Bakugan is Wilda, Ace is Percival, and Baron is Nemesis. So those are the 3 Bakugan, and then eventually Dan, Marucho, and Shun go to the New Vestroia to help the Bakugans defeat the Vexos and the royal family. And Drago gets a chance to get his new form back. And so Dan still has Drago, but Shun and Marucho get new Bakugans, and Shun gets Ingram, and Marucho gets Elfin, and then they join Mira, Ace, and Baron to create the Battle Brawlers Resistance. So those 3 are the new Battle Brawlers. Runo, Alice, and Julie do make cameos in this season, but they're not part of the group. In the sense for battling purposes. And obviously they have to defeat the Vexos. Now, the leader of the Vexos is actually Mira's brother, Spectra, and he's not there to fall under the royal family. He's there to actually take over and gain power. And so that's crazy. That still causes a conflict between Mira and the Battle Brawlers, because he's not on their side, because he wants power. He's not there to save the Bakugan, but he's not on the Royals family. But eventually Dan, beating him several times, he and his ally Gus join the Battle Brawlers to defeat the Royal family. Now, Spectra's Bakugan is Helios. And the thing with the Vexos is their technology. And so they abandoned Bakugan and created robotic artificial Bakugan, and the person who did that is actually Mira and Spectra's father. And he also edited Helios to become part mechanical. So Spectra did, actually, not the father. Sorry, I didn't clarify that part, but yeah. So essentially, that's the second season, trying to defeat the Vexos and all of them. And so that's kind of there. Sorry, I had to cut this off right here, Why? Because this video went a little long than I thought it would. It's almost a half an hour long, and the reason why is because each season has its own story to it. Even though they're all connected, they each have their own little story, and so it's, you know, makes this video a little bit long. So I decided to cut this video in half, and yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, the first part. And if you did, please leave a like. If you're new, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified for my next upload. My YouTube channel, website link, my Twitter, and Instagram are all in the description as always. And thank you. Goodbye.